In this video, we are going to be stitching together in hand on this Lucky Nutcracker project. Hi, my name is Marie, and in this highly requested episode of Caterpillar Cross Stitch Floss Tube, we are going to be doing a real-time stitch with me in hand video. I have picked this Lucky Nutcracker. This was a last year's stitch along. I would like to have it finished for this year's Christmas, so I need to get a little bit of a move on. So I thought I'd take you with on a couple of minutes of stitching together so that you can see exactly how the process of stitching in hand works. I've also prepared a left-handed stitching. I'm going to be stitching on a different small easy project towards the end of the video, so stay tuned if that is of your interest. Let's start with holding our project. So the first thing I always do, I just roll the project so that I can be as close as possible with my other hand to the place where I'm going to be stitching, because I am using my other hand to help me guide my needle through the fabric. So we are going to be stitching on a part of grandfather's clock that will be right here. Then I will show you a stitching of a snowflake that is going to be here. That's going to be fabulous in showing you how to adapt your stitching in hand to different directions of stitching. And we'll see how far we can get. Let's get stitching. Remember to like and subscribe for more stitchy tutorials. So when I stitch in hand with 2 strands of floss, I just do my usual loop start. And now my preferred way of stitching in hand is from bottom to the top. So this is exactly what I do. I go bottom, and you can see I'm sort of guiding my fabric with my finger on the back of the fabric. And then I'm holding it with my thumb on this side of the fabric, and I am piercing the fabric. So effectively, this is my finger on the other side, right? So I am helping the needle to sort of go through the fabric by guiding it on the other side. When I can, I do a stitch with the what they call a Danish method of stitching. So you would go half a stitch one way and finish it with the top stitch coming back. Maybe you noticed that what I'm doing is I'm sort of laying my stitches flat with my thumb. So whenever I finish a half stitch, I would just go in and sort of press it down a little bit, and that is in effect my laying tool. So this is what's helping me keep my stitches tidier, I suppose. A lot of people abandon stitching in hand because the stitches don't look as tidy. But what I would say to that is, first of all, it takes practice, and I don't think there's anything else than practice that would, that is going to really make a difference. But also, this little neat trick with pressing the stitch down Okay, so we've done one row, and I can just straight away travel to another, right? Okay, you can see that I'm really helping my needle, sort of I'm grabbing the fabric in between my thumb and my finger. You can see that I'm really helping my needle with my thumb and the finger beneath, so I'm sort of helping the needle go through the fabric by just positioning it well. So I don't know if you can see the movement, so I'm sort of pushing the needle up but also pulling pulling the fabric down. This is where I can, where it really helps to have your non-stitching hand positioned well in order to help you stitch faster. And I'm literally just coming back that's it. Nothing more complicated. This is really just about getting comfortable with your chosen stitch. So like I said, I stitch from the bottom up. This is, I know a lot of people stitch from top to bottom, like your hand position will be like this. So whereas I stitch from right to left, they would start here and they would stitch from left to right. But there is just something about that position of the hand where I don't find it very comfortable. So that's why my personal chosen stitch is to go from bottom up and from the left to right. Okay, I still have a little bit of thread left, so I'm just going to make a couple of half stitches here. I know I'm not gonna have enough to come back, but that's okay. One thing I wanted to mention with stitching in hand, so what I usually end up doing is having needle one size smaller than recommended. So if a 14 count Ada has got a size 24 needle as a basic recommendation, I would stitch in hand with a 26, which is a one size smaller. I just find that with stitching in hand, what you really want is your needle to glide through the fabric really easily, and if it's quite large, you might struggle a little bit to get it through, even if it's the recommended size, because usually when you stitch with a hoop, the holes of fabric are nice and open, usually. And what you don't want is your needle to be that small that it starts sort of falling through. So that's why there are the recommended sizes. But for hand stitching, I just find that for me personally, a smaller needle is, you know, makes it for a more enjoyable stitching. Okay, this is as far as this thread will take me. I usually just, you know, finish my stitch going behind my existing stitches. So let's just do that. And because I want to be extra certain, I go back, and that's it. I'll cut it off nice and short. And it's time to stitch the snowflake, because I really want to show you those different directions. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is where my snowflake starts. What I need to do now is go diagonally. So if I always start my stitch in the top right corner, then I'm just gonna go to the next top right corner and do this. Oh, I hate when it catches on the side of the fabric. Okay, there's another diagonal stitch. So I'm again gonna go. Normally if I went up, I would go here, but because I need to go one further to the left, I'm starting here. Okay, so that's 3. That's done. Now I need to do 1, 2, 3 stitches here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my stitches like this. So full stitch and move on to another full stitch. Full stitch and move on to another full stitch. And last full stitch. I'm gonna look at the pattern and see where I need to go next. So I need to do another diagonal row. This time it goes this way. So what I can do is I can do just half stitches so that it's easier for me to go back, to travel back. This is sort of where the planning comes into it, and that's very difficult to teach. You just have to look at your pattern and see and think about, so if I do half stitches, where will I end? You know, do I need to continue stitching in there? In this case, yes, so I'm going to go back. Or if I do absolutely full stitches, will it be easier for me to then move on to the next stitching? This really is highly individual. Highly individual. It's a combination of preference, spur of the moment. Okay, so now I've done these 3. I'm gonna go back here and do another diagonal line. Oh, I don't think I should have done. Oh, I got myself into a pickle, because I would literally have to be a contortionist to be able to do the half stitches coming back. So I have to go a little bit back and front instead of being able to do the sewing method. Okay, now let's do the middle stitch. Then I'm gonna do these 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I need to do another 3 diagonals. I think what I'm gonna do full stitches. So I'm coming out with my needle here, because that's my top right corner. Okay. And what I can do now is I'm gonna stitch top to bottom, which is just what sometimes happens. You have to adapt your stitching to your current need, especially when you don't just have blocks, but you have something like this sort of shape, where you have to travel around a lot. You will use all sorts of directions in your stitches. You have to get creative. Okay, and that is my snowflake. So I hope this little demonstration helped you see how versatile stitching in hand is, and sort of how it really just depends on your particular pattern as to what type of hand stitching stitch are you going to be using. So you could see over here in the block stitching, it's easy. It's literally just, you know, left, right, and that's it. But over here, we've had to be a lot more creative in terms of planning our stitches, being aware which direction is the stitch going to go next. So, and this all comes with practice, really. I am now going to attempt to show you how to stitch in hand with, you know, left hand. Please don't laugh. I am a right-handed person, although I do, when I stitch in a hoop or a frame, I do stitch with both hands. My left hand is still not as sort of functional as my right hand, so I will try my best to show you how to stitch in hand with your left hand. I have taken this pattern. This is a free pattern that you will get when you subscribe to our newsletter. It is one of 8 amazing free patterns that you will get when you subscribe to our newsletter. The link is in the description below. Okay, so let's take our first color. So the first thing I'd like to say that I have been really thinking about it, and I believe that left-handed stitching in hand should be sort of mirroring the right-handed one. So in order for you to get really comfortable, I feel like you should be able to roll your fabric sort of towards here, and you know, like we've seen with the right-handed stitching, so that you get your guiding fingers and everything. And it is for this reason that I believe that you know, your sort of top stitch, so if I, with my right hand, if my bottom stitch goes from right to left and my top stitch goes from left to right, I believe that with stitching in hand with your left hand it should be the other way around. I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to start with a loop start as usual, and what I'm going to do is go sort of bottom top and again go bottom top, and you can see that I'm really helping myself here with my thumb and my finger on the back of the fabric. This is so important, right? Laying my stitches. I'm sorry, it really is a bit clunky, but hey ho. And I'm going to travel up here with my thread and do the same. I feel like it's much easier going from here to there rather than, you know, keeping the right-handed way and going from right to left. I just feel like perhaps it would make it more difficult for the needle guiding and whatever you. But I would be interested to hear from left-handed people. What is your opinion? What is your challenge with stitching in hand? I'd also like to say that there is absolutely no right or wrong way in terms of which way your top stitch should be sort of, whether it should be like that or that, if you know what I mean. There is literally no right or wrong way. I've heard there's an American school, there's a Russian school, whatever. The only important thing is choose one and stick to it for the whole project. So if there is any left-handed person watching right now, and they usually do their stitches the other way around, so this would be your bottom stitch and this would be your top stitch. What I would say is that it is important to just stay consistent for the project. So if you do a stitch in hand project, I wouldn't worry about the fact that your other projects, you know, have your stitch the other way around. I just wouldn't worry about it. Like I said, the absolutely only important thing is consistency. Right. Now I'm going to teach you a trick. Well, in just a second, once I have finished the row. And this is for both right-handed and left-handed stitching. So let me just quickly finish this. Also, I find that the one and the most important thing with stitching in hand is just find the right position of your hands where you are feeling comfortable. That is the most important thing. If you feel like you're putting your hand in, weird angles and you're not feeling comfortable, and then there is no point, because you will not enjoy stitching. And what's the point in stitching if you're not enjoying it, right? So that's actually not that bad at stitching in left hand. So now for the trick. So let's say I am stitching with variegated thread and I need to do one stitch at a time. So I'm gonna go one stitch at a time. This is called a Victorian stitch. Right. So I'm going. I'm pretending I have finished the row. And what do I do now is if I wanted to do this coming backwards, I would literally just break my arm trying to do that, right? It's a very uncomfortable angle. So the wonderful thing about stitching in hand is that it's really easy to swap things around. So what you can do is you can swap your project upside down. Yes, you heard me, upside down, exactly 180 degrees. Do not do just 90 degrees angle like that, it wouldn't work. 180 degrees. What you do, you just do the exact same Victorian stitch. So let me just finish these three. This is really handy, really handy for stitching with variegated threads, because you often need to do just one by one stitch, a full stitch. And if I turn it around again, what you'll see is that the stitches still look uniform. Let me just grab the needle. Here. Pull it through. Okay, this we have stitched facing this way, and this we have stitched upside down, and you can see that the stitches face exactly the same direction and they look rather uniform, right? So this is something that you can, play around with. Just be mindful of the fact that it only ever works when you turn the project around exactly 180 degrees. I could not stress that enough, because I have done this before when I've learned, when I was learning how to do this. And naturally I started doing like 90 degrees and what have you. And I've had to frog like 500 stitches, because my top stitch was just all over the place, different directions, every other stitch. That is just something to keep in mind. But yeah, this is stitching in hand in your left hand. I would say the only and most important thing with stitching in hand is just to persevere, really. What I did in the beginning, I just had one stitch in hand project, and the rest I kept on stitching with a hoop, because that was my comfort zone, and I would only stitch on it, you know, once in a while, just to build up my confidence. Pick something with larger blocks like this. This is perfect for practice, honestly. Pick something with larger blocks to build your confidence, to build your skill. You can't go straight away to advanced samplers on 40 count, you know. I personally would just even pick an Ada project and just try it, and try it on a project that you know, I don't want to say like don't care about that much, but in a way, yes, try it on a project that you don't care about that much. Like your stitches are not going to be uniform in the beginning, they're going to be a bit wobbly. It's all part of the process. They are going to get tidy with experience in time, and it won't take that long. Don't think that it takes years, not at all. I think about halfway through my first project, stitching in hand, it sort of clicked, you know, something just clicked, and my stitches suddenly became quite uniform. Yeah, so I would really recommend getting either these 8 free patterns that we've got here. The succulent that I'm stitching right now seems absolutely perfect for practice. Or there are so many patterns on our website www.caterpillarcrossstitch.com, and they all come with either Ada or even weave, but I would recommend starting with Ada just when you're learning. Your first project, your first hand stitch project, I would highly recommend it being Ada. Just so you don't have to keep an eye on so many things. The seasonal trees would be perfect for stitching in hand as well. I've shown the summer tree in the previous video. It's got the bottom and the tree trunk are just one color basically, or 2 colors. That's perfect for practice, and they look amazing. There's a Hello Pumpkin tree, which is perfect for the season right now. Again, I find the trees to be really good for practice. So you see, not bad for a right-handed person, right? So I hope it helped you to see me stitch an actual pattern in real time. I hope that my explanations in terms of decision making process, where to go next, whether to do half a stitch or a full stitch, helped you. I hope that if any left-handed person has been watching, I hope that the demonstration has been helpful as well. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. Let us know in the comments. We're always happy to answer. And just to recap, my top tips for stitching in hand would be start on something very easy. Our website is full of easy patterns, so I would really recommend to pick up something with large blocks of color. Get you used to the movement of your hand, which is different than when stitching in hoop. Just build your confidence on large blocks of color, which is the absolute perfect way to start. And then slowly, once you get your confidence, progress onto something more difficult. Always think about where your needle is going to end, and think about whether you need it to end up here or down here. Depending on that, you will be able to choose whether you do half stitches or full stitches without going back. This is something that comes with practice. And my last tip is don't be too hard on yourself and don't expect too much too soon. It is okay to have your stitches a little bit wobbly in the beginning. This is just because you're building a new skill. I know it can be sometimes difficult on patience, because when you can already stitch, it is difficult to see your stitches maybe not being completely perfect, or it is learning a new skill. So give yourself the time and the grace in terms of, allowing your stitches not being perfect, but you will see a progress. If you stick with it, if you make that full succulent, if you make that full grandfather's clock, you will see that the stitches are going to be much better at the top than they were at the bottom. This is just what comes with practice. So persevere, give it a chance, give it a go, and let us know if you have any questions, because we would love to help. And that is it from us at Caterpillar Cross Stitch this week. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.